Hello everyone, welcome to JS Cult. So today I have decided to discuss about Polyfill. So Polyfill is basically a piece of code which helps to run modern JavaScript code in older browser. So without wasting any more time, let's jump into the first example. Let's consider str equal to hello world. Now if we do this console.log str.length, so let me run this first and note. Yeah, so if you run this, you are getting this 11 because this property is already available as a part of string prototype. Okay, but we will not be using this property. Instead we will create our own length function and use it. So there are a couple of ways by which we can achieve this one. The first way is to use prototype. So whenever you are creating any this kind of polyfills, so we need to add it to the prototype object of that concerned thing, whether it's a string or an array or anything. So string dot prototype dot, let us name it as custom length. Okay, custom len. So this will be a function. Okay, so our function name will be custom length and this will be a function. Now what we have to do, we need to get the current context, right? So when you are using this str.length, it means that the length is using this str as its current context. So the way to access the context is, if you write this here, then this will actually return you the context. In this case it is the str. So maybe we will use it as we will store it in a variable called str. Maybe not needed, maybe so, but still. So this is the thing, and that's all. That's the trickiest part here. So the couple of things, one is using this prototype in this way, and second one is how will you access the context. Once this is done, I think nothing much is left. So just initialize a variable with 0 and then just run a while loop. So we will go through this string, right? So just run len. So we will go through one by one character until undefined is reached, until we reach undefined. So I'll add a semicolon here so that it will go through all the characters of this string, of this provided string, until it reaches the last character, or it goes beyond that actually. So the moment it is actually undefined, it will come out of this while loop. So we'll simply return length, but since this post increment is given, I think I need to reduce this by 1, otherwise it will give one more extra number. So that's it. I started with 0 and then incrementing it until it reaches the last one, and len -1. Let us see, let us try with our newly created custom length instead of this length. So I've already showed you how I'm executing it with the thing, and the answer was 11. So now if I just run the same thing, you can see same thing is printing. So now we have this newly created method here which is available for all the strings. Okay, but if I don't have it, and if I try to run this thing, then it will give me an error saying that custom len is not a function. Okay, so I think all of you understood the trick here, how to write a prototype function. This is the first example, so I've tried to choose a very simple one. Okay, so I was saying there are a couple of ways. So this is one way of achieving this kind of polyfill method. There is one more way by which you can achieve the same thing. So the second way is there is a define property for all the object available. So if you want to define any property for any object, then you can use this object dot define property. Now as you know, string also, so in JavaScript everything belongs to this object family only. No matter it is a function, it's a string or array or anything, eventually if you go through the prototype chain, you will see the end prototype is of type object only. So here what we are trying to do, we are trying to create a property of string, right? So we are defining an uh, a property of string dot prototype basically. Okay, and the name is exactly same, this custom length. And here this third argument. So if you don't know this syntax, you can check in JavaScript documentation. Basically there are 4 properties, but we will be dealing with the value only. So the value will be a function. So apart from value, there are enumerable and other readable. So all those properties are there, but we will use all of their default values only. So in value, we will write a function, and the function will look exactly same. I'll not write it again just to save some time. This logic will remain same. Only thing is the way I declared this method is changed. This was one way of directly writing it in string prototype, and here I'm using this one. So let's see if this works or not. Okay, so as you can see, this gave me the same result, but mostly this approach first is popular. I've hardly seen anyone using this object define property. Yeah, this was about the string length function. I hope you understood this one. So I'll be uploading all this in my GitHub repo. I've already created the blank files and created GitHub repo for all of them. So once this video is recorded, I'll publish them in my GitHub repo so that you can refer to them later also. So okay, going forward quickly, I'll go to my next example. So suppose I have a function called maybe just randomly print address. Okay, so all it does is console.log. So it is expecting 2 things. Okay, dollar this dot address 1, and same way this dot address 2. Simple. Now I'm declaring a function, sorry, an object called address, which has these 2 properties, address 1. Okay, address 1 is something 64n, and then address 2 something XYZ street. All right, so now I have this object available. So now if I just run this function dot call, and within this call function it expects a context. So whatever I am providing here, that this will act as a resource here. Okay, for this one. So this address, whatever I have provided, so that will be the this in this case. So it will try to access this property from this object. Let's see. Yeah, so as you can see, I was printing this address 1 and address 2. So address 1 I passed this 64n, and address to this one. So both is printing the screen, obviously. So this is what we are going to achieve, but without using this inbuilt call function, we will write our own custom call function. Okay, that's the task for this. Let me create. So in the last example also, I created a string prototype function, right? Using that same principle, I am creating a prototype function for function class. So function dot prototype dot, so let's keep the name as custom call. The custom call is a function. All right, now let's create a basic version of this thing. So okay, so any this, so this is a any context, right? Any context I will provide, or maybe context, and then some property equal to this. So that this I am assigning it to anything, any property. Okay, this does not exist. This is just an arbitrary name I've taken from this this context, and then I'm assigning this property to this guy. Okay, so that, okay, now the next line is I'm going to call this one. So if you are able to call this this is nothing but a function, right? In this case, because you are suppose you are using this print, so this print address is actually a function. So we want to execute this function, but that will be executed via this context, basically this guy, this whatever we are passing. So that will be this. So if we are able to do this, then that's it, our work is done. So let's see what it is resulting if we use this method. I'll just change this name here. So custom call, you can see it's working same way. It's printing the value. Okay, but this is not the foolproof solution of it, because first of all we are polluting this object. So what if there is already a existing property available and with this name, right? That will mess up the whole thing. So we'll do it in a right way. So what we have to do is okay, there are a couple of other things in call. So first of all, this in case we are not passing this context, or if this context is blank, then it should ideally take it from the global, means in this case from the window, or in whichever environment the global, this it will use it as a context if the past context is not defined. So let me define something. So current context. So the current context, if this is there, then good. Otherwise, global this. And then we need to define a property for this context, which will be random. Okay, the thing is, we'll use the random number function math.random to create a property name. So that's what I'm doing here right now. So suppose unique property equal to math.random, and then if no, so I'll keep on checking if that property is available or not. So if while this dot this, so basically I'm checking whether this is existing or not inside this context. So while this is not equal to undefined, I'll keep on. So this will be let actually, because I need to retry with another random number. So if this random number already exists, then I'm gonna create another random number and again check whether this property exists here or not. In the end, I will delete this property, don't worry. I'm using a ES6 spread operator args, because again this is regarding call only. So call, if you see the documentation, call first argument is the context, and after that you pass the arguments related to that function. So here also I'm doing the same thing. First one is the context, and after that you can pass as many arguments as you can with comma separated value. So these are those things. I'm using a spread operator so that later I can use it. So now that's what I'll use it. So I have this current context. I'll use this one only, sorry, not execute this this thing, unique property. So I'm gonna use this args here, but I'll use the spread operator again so that it goes in comma separated, because for call we use the arguments in comma separated way, right? So this is the right way to use in call. So the result, we want to store it in a result variable, okay? And then once we are done with the call, so this is where we will make the call to that context or that function, in this case this print address. In this line only we are making a call, and after that we will remove this property. So what is the operator? It is delete, right? Delete will delete the property name. All right, so now once this is deleted, finally we want to return this thing also. This is also from call only. So if you are using call function, that will return you the result also. So that's what we are doing here. Whatever we tested, that was working without this function also, right? But suppose we have a little bit tricky scenario. So this guy is expecting some state, okay, state country maybe. So state country also is now added, but it is expecting as a part of this function argument. So I'll just write it in the next line. State and dollar country. So it is expecting these two things from here. So if you use a call and pass these two things, so suppose anything, suppose WB and INDIA, so state and country, using the traditional call. Firstly, let's see what is the result here. Yeah, so this is printing properly. Now if we try to achieve the same with our custom call, after getting this unique property, we need to assign this here, right? Otherwise how we will get the function? So we should assign this here, then only the function, this will become a function here. And once this became the function, inside we are using the spread operator, all these arguments whatever we received here, we are again trying to pass here. Let's see. You can see this is working perfectly as expected. So I hope this implementation is clear now. The main thing is how we are creating this property for this object, the context object, and then how we are executing it using this spread operator. So with the help of spread operator, it became really easy. So in older days, you had to use an eval function and concatenate using a for loop and do so a lot of things. But now with the help of this spread operator, you can easily get it in comma separated way and return it as well. So this was about our custom call feature. So the apply after call, we have something called apply as well. So call and apply is mostly similar. Okay, let me copy this implementation first so that you can also understand the similarity. So I'll copy and paste it here. All right, so if you see this one, here we are passing everything as a comma separated way, right? So how many elements we want to pass, we will be passing in a comma separated way. But whatever how so imagine we have a scenario where we need to pass a 10 or maybe 15 elements. So that is not the right way, right, to provide in a comma separated way. So the correct approach is to use a apply. So if you are using an apply, you need to pass first argument will be as it is the context. The second argument will be the array. Custom call now, custom apply. Yeah. So you see, since we are using this apply function, using it as an array also works. But if we use this custom call here, then it will not work. See, there is a undefined is coming. The reason is, since this is only one argument, right? See, this there is no comma separated, this is just one value. So this whole thing it is taking as state here. So when it is printing state, it is able to print. But the moment it comes to country, it is not getting anything, so it is printing as y. So the solution is very simple. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, that's it. So here whatever array we are passing, so the same thing will come here. No need to use a spread operator here, because anyhow this is a single argument only, right? So this arg, the value of this args will be this whole thing, this whole array. Now all we have to do is to use a spread operator, so that when it reaches this function, this will be spread into the state, country and everything as per these values. Okay, so next thing we'll do is to create a polyfill for bind. Let's open the bind file now. Okay, so I'm gonna copy the first these two methods and the object from here. Okay, so first use the bind. Okay, in case if you don't know, bind and apply or call is little different. The difference, see, the resource sharing, the context sharing thing is still there. Still we are sharing the context or passing the context in case of bind also, but the function invocation will not happen immediately. Let me show you how it works. So suppose we are result okay, just for example, just keep it result only, and then I want to bind this function with this object, and then I need to invoke this as well. Let's see what we get. So if we are using custom bind, we are inside custom bind. So yeah, because we are not even passing the this state and country, right? So that's the reason. So now you can simply pass the state and country, WB and NDA. So now if we pass this, yeah, so it is working properly. So did you get that, how it is working? So it's not that immediately this whenever I am executing this line, it will not invoke this print address. Rather, this context will be passed to this, and it will return a copy of this function that has this as a context. So you can invoke it later at any point of time. It's not that you need to invoke it right away in this line only. Later also you can invoke it. The context and argument will be preserved here. So that's the beauty of this bind function. This is really handy. So there's another feature of this one. So now you have a state and country. Let me add a city here. So maybe later I'm adding a city. City should come first, right? So I'll use it here. So wherever I want to use this argument, doesn't matter, the sequence does not matter. You saw the city is the last argument, but I'm using it before the state and country. So if we want to pass this guy, so okay, let me pass the city. Okay, Kolkata. Yeah, you can see the city and the state, and then the country is coming how I'm printing here. But these first two I'm passing from this bind method, and the last argument I'm passing from this invocation context. So this city is not. So if I was passing the city from here and leaving this thing blank, then also it will work. Or if I have a city here, again if I use this from here, then also it will work. This will override. So this is another variation of this bind. So we'll take this as an example and try to achieve similar result with our custom bind method. All right, and then I had to use call. So if you use call here, first argument is your context, and after that, using a spread operator, we are passing all these things. So then if you run this, then we are getting these first two things. The first two things are coming from the context, right? This address 1 and address 2. Address 1 and address 2, since we are passing this address object here, so the address object will come here along with the other things, and then since we are using this argument 0, so argument 0 will become the address 1, and along with that this other two arguments we are passing using a spread operator. So these two to this state and country also we are passing from here, so it will be able to print this state and city. Only thing it is not finding is this one, the city. Since we are not passing the city, we need to consider passing the city as well. So how can we do that? If you see here, whatever anonymous function, here also we are returning an anonymous function, so it is passing some argument from here as well. So we need to consider that thing as well. So let's use okay, arg, maybe. Okay, I'm giving just some name. It is not correct way, but still okay. So I am giving a name. So what you have to do is you need to merge these two things here. One is this context with all these things. So this is what the bind function also does. It basically concatenates all these things. So we'll also do the same thing. So whatever this things are there, so along with that I am gonna add this a as well, because I'm expecting a list of parameters to come from this anonymous function as well. So we've clubbed together the all these arguments, and along with that this last argument also we clubbed, and using a spread operator we are passing it so that it reaches here. So if we run this one, you can see it's printing as it is. So our custom bind function is working. So let me quickly go through this one once again. So what we have done is we are writing a function. We are consuming whatever argument we are passing from the bind method. So these are, as I told you, these are these arguments. So the first one is the context, this one, and the other whatever extra argument we want to pass, we will take all of them here. Now we want to store this object to a variable so that we can use it inside this closure function here. So we are using this callback, and then we are again calling this callback function. Callback function is what we are basically this function. So this function dot call, inside that we are passing the 0th argument, which is this guy. So this address will come as this context here, and along with the context we want to pass all these arguments. So first set of argument is what we pass with this custom bind function. So they are stored in this variable. So along with this one, whatever we are passing in this anonymous function, so that also we need to pass, because that's how the bind method works. So we've clubbed both of them, and then using the spread operator we are passing it to this print address function. So as a result, it's working exactly as a bind method. So that's about the call bind and call apply and bind method. Okay, so next set of polyfills I'll try to cover is map, reduce and filter. So map, reduce and filter, if you don't know, let me give you a small little example. Suppose we have an array of 1, 3, 6 and 10, maybe anything, and we are using this map. So using a value, so map, what it does, it will go through each of these values, and then basically whatever functionality we are writing here, it will operate that function on each of these things and return a copy of this function. So we need to store something. Okay, let's write the function first. So maybe we want to go through all these values and create an array, copy of this array, whether this is a even number or an odd number. Simple. Okay, so how can you check whether it's a even number or odd number? The way is value and 1. So using this one, equal to 0. So if it is 0, if the last digit is 0, it means it is even, else odd. So I'll store this result in a constant result and then simply console it. Okay, so custom map, right? So as you can see, the first two values are odd, as we know, 1 and 3. So it is giving odd the next two. So I think you understood how it works. It went through each of these values, and then it is checking. So every time. So first time the value is 1, second time the value is 3, third time the value is 6, fourth time the value is 10. So and then it is using, I could use that modular operator as well, but I use this one typically. So using this small little operation, I'm checking whether this current value is even or not, even or odd. So the result and whatever I'm using here, that will be stored in an array, and the copy of this array will be consoled here. So we'll try to achieve the same thing, but as always, we'll use our custom map function. Okay, so for that also, previously we started with string and then went to function, and sorry, yeah, and now this time we'll write a prototype method of array. Array.prototype.custom map equal to function. All right, so this map function is expecting, first of all, it is expecting a callback, the function, basically what you are seeing here. Now what we need to do, we need to create a result array first of all. Okay, and then we'll write a for loop. Let I equals to 0. We'll go through each of this array. So this time I'm not storing this again. We can directly use this here, length I plus plus. So basically we are going through all these values, whatever we are using here. So each of these values we are iterating through, and we will be pushing some result here. You don't need to use call here. We can directly use callback. Inside that, the current value, right? So what is the current value? Current value is this inside I. So this is the current value. After that, the index, and after that, the whole array will pass. So it's together the whole thing. We will push it inside this result array, and then simply in the end we'll return this result. Okay, so pretty much that's it. I think we are going through all these values, and then we are invoking that method, and then pushing the result here, so that next time it can be, sorry, not next time, so the result can be seen here. So let's use the same thing, this. So instead I'll try to use this guy, custom map, and see if it works. So it's not working because I'm not printing anything. Result. Okay, yeah, so as you can see, it's printing the same result as that of the default map. The map is over. We'll try to do a reduce, we'll do in the end. Let's do a filter. So again okay, I'm using the same array 1 3 6 10. So instead of a map, we'll use a filter function here. So same thing, I will check whether which one is the values which are even, we want to filter only those values. So the same logic continues here as well, and 1, and we need to provide, basically we need to provide a boolean here. So based on that condition, this operation will filter the truthy values. So we'll store the result in a container again. So we will store the container and then okay, and let's see what it prints. Fine, as you can see, it filtered only the even value. So if we write 1 here, then it should filter the odd value. As expected, it is filtering the odd value. So I hope you understood the functionality of filter. Now we will achieve the same with our custom filter method. Let's comment this out, comment this, and then again same way, function dot prototype dot custom filter equal to function. Okay, and then so this both the signature will be same. We'll have a callback here. I'm not writing the optional ones just to save some time. Now we'll have a callback function like the map function. Okay, and here what we'll do, we will again go through all these values. So need to write similar, let I equal to 0, I should be less than this dot length, I plus plus, and then same way we need to declare a resultant array, result empty array. We will do push. I think you can tell this answer what we should do. So from the map and filter, there is not much of a difference. The map was operating and returning a copy of it. In this case, we will push only if the callback method returns a truth value, right? So it's very simple. I hope you got it. Here I am writing an if condition, same way. So if the callback, so inside the callback we need to pass the current value, right? What is the current value? Simple, this inside I. So this is the current value. So if this is true, then push this current value to this resultant array. Otherwise will not do anything. So I think along with this current value, we need to provide the index and the current array as well. So but the main crux is this one. So you need to push only if this results in a true value. Let's see if it works or not. So same way we will use our filter method. Okay, it's not working because custom filter is not a function. Okay, what happened? Okay, I think I did not return this thing. Then what? I need to return this guy, otherwise it will not receive the value only. Okay, sorry, this will be an array, my bad. Okay, yeah, so as you can see 1 and 3 is there because I am using this odd value condition. If I make it as 0, then this will return you the even value. This is reduced. Okay, I have created this custom filter. It's a homework for you. You can create a polyfill for find. So similarly, find and filter works on similar principle. only difference is filter will return the first matched element. So if there, see in this case, if you have multiple elements, right, 1 and 3 was there, but if you are using a find, it will return you the first matched element, so it will not go iterate again. The moment it finds the success, it will come out of the loop. So that is the only difference between filter and find. So now we'll jump to the last example for the day. This is reduce. So reduce is little bit different. Let me copy and show you. Suppose we want to see which one is the highest one or which one is the lowest one. Okay, which one is the highest number. So here this function is little different. Here we will have two value. One is accumulator. Accumulator is just the name, but yeah, A and B. So if you want to find out the greatest number among this all these values, all we can do is, if A is greater than B, then A, else B. Sorry, this will be an integration. Yeah, that's it, I think. Instead of filter, I will use reduce. Yeah, so you can see 10, it's printing 10. Same way, if we want to, so if A is less than B, then A, otherwise B. So if we use this thing, it should give me the, sorry, should give me the lowest number as expected. So 1 is the lowest number, 10 is the highest number. What it is doing is, it is going through each one of these values, and basically A and B, these two, so first time these two, it's in context, and whatever is the result, it is storing in an accumulator, and the result is operating with the next one. So that this suppose 1 and 3, A and B is 1 and 3. Suppose A is less than B, then A, otherwise B. So in 1 and 3, 1 will be the accumulator result, and this 1 will become A, and this 6 will become basically B. So again it will be 1, and then from this all these three, sorry, so from all these three thing, accumulator is 1, and that result 1 will be A and 10 will be B. So among 1 and 10, obviously we are choosing 1, so the result is 1. So same way the greater one also works. So let's see how can we create a polyfill for reduce now. So same way we will have callback here, callback, along with callback we should have a initial value here. Okay, this is again from the reduce function only. So initial, we'll name it as initial, and the last one is probably the context. That's what I remember from the syntax. So the first thing is the function. So here we are only using a function, but in case if you're summing up, so easily using this reduce, you can sum all these values. It will go through a sum. So I already gave you the concept of accumulator. So same way it will sum up 1 to 3 and then sum along with 6 and then add 10. So you can use for summing and or all these functions. So this is the syntax here. So same way again we want to run a for loop. Let's run this same way. Let I equal to 0 should be less than this dot length I plus plus. Okay, but before that we need to declare something called accumulator. So this accumulator, we will declare it from this initial, whatever value we are passing. So this value is optional. So if you are not passing anything, we will declare it with undefined. Fine. So now this guy is undefined. So it can be undefined, or going forward it will have some value, right? So here we will have two scenario. One is this ACC is defined. Other scenario is this ACC is undefined. Let's write the defined scenario. So if accumulator is not equal to undefined, so if it is not undefined, then we need to make a call to this callback. Okay, so okay, first the result we will store in accumulator. Whatever, after calling this callback function, whatever result we are getting, we will store it in accumulator. So in the callback we will, first thing is we need to send the context. So this is not important. So if you're not passing this context, so it will be undefined. Along with the context, we want to pass this current value, the first value, every time whatever you are iterating. So this and I. So if it is 1, then 1, then 3, 3, 6, like this. Then the index. So index is I, and the last argument is the whole thing, entire array, which is this. That's it. I think that's it, or anything else is left. So first thing is the context. Okay, I forgot this thing, otherwise how this accumulation will work. Second thing is the accumulated value. So if it is undefined, then it will pass undefined. Otherwise, see, first time it's undefined, but next time it will have some value, because when we are passing this context, inside the context something will happen, like we will have a logic, and that logic return whatever. So in this case, suppose we are returning A or B, right? That return value will be stored here. So next time if we are passing, it will have the accumulated value, as I told you. So first time 1 and 3 is in the picture. So since 1 is less than 3, then 1 was the accumulator. So that 1 will come here, and second time we are passing this 1 here as a accumulated value, and the B was 6. So again 1 was the result. So same way this thing also working, as I explained you. So this was the if scenario, and there is a case when this first time this accumulator will not be defined. So if it is not defined, then just use the current value. Like for the first time when we are running this, for the first time when we are using this function, we are not having anything, neither we are passing an initial value, nor in this whole thing we have any accumulated value, right? So first time the accumulated value will be just the current value, that is the 1. So first time it will be this dot I only. So going forward in the for loop, when it goes to the second element, that time this accumulator will be 1. So then it will start making a call to this callback. So when the for loop first time iterates, so first time iteration, the accumulator will be 1. When it is iterating for the second time, that time it will come into this block, not in the else case, because accumulator's value is 1. We have assigned it here. So second time this if block will execute, and as I explained you, this after this operation we will have a accumulated value. Now finally we need to just return the accumulator. This is printing mistake. Yeah, it is 1. Fine. If we change this thing to find the greater one, then it is not this. If A is greater than B, I forgot to use this call. So callback dot call. Yeah, so now it is working as expected. So since we are writing the greatest number algorithm, it is returning me 10. So do you want me to go through? Okay, let me go through it once again real quick. So we have three arguments. One is the callback function. What you are seeing here, this is the callback function. So along with that, you can pass an initial value in case you are using a sum or multiplication function. You can pass an initial value like 0 or 1. And the third one is the context. So now first we'll initialize it with the initial value. So if initial value is not there, it is undefined. Now we are going through all these values one by one, and if there is a concept of accumulator, so basically we are going through each each window will have two values. So first time we are since this accumulator will be undefined, okay, so first time since it is undefined, it will come here and it will assign with the current value, which is 1. And then second time it will enter in this thing, since it is not undefined, it is 1. And then we will be providing this accumulator to this callback function. Whatever function we are writing here, this 1 will be passed to this along with the current value. Now the current value will not be 1, right? It will be 3. So this 1 and 3 will be this A and B, if you can understand this. So then whatever operation we'll do, and then the result will be stored in this accumulator, and in so on and so forth it will go through, and finally this accumulator we will return. Okay, that's all about the reduce, custom reduce. I think this video is super long now. I'll not stretch it, so I'm pushing all these changes to my GitHub repo. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you like this video, then do give this a thumbs up, and do subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching.